All right, everyone's favorite time. It is mock draft with landing spots of the 2023 rookies. Now, this is a different landing spots than we did our previous video. Gosh, maybe that was already a week or two ago. We're going to be doing plenty more mock drafting with landing spots, without landing spots, just kind of seeing if there's any updates after the Senior Bowl here. There's not going to be too many changes going on, especially just a little bit more on the back end here, second and third rounders, maybe moving up a little bit, moving down a little bit here. But the biggest thing will be draft combine when that happens, and then of course when the draft happens, you have all this draft capital and landing spots that actually happen. So right now we're going to be giving away a DeAndre Swift signed jersey. So if you made it this far, please subscribe, like. We're going to be doing a couple of videos a week at least. Try to get at least daily content, whether it's shorts or videos out there. My family got hit with the stomach flu a couple days ago. I have not gotten it yet, so we'll see. If I go dark for a couple days, you know that I got hit. And I got hit hard. My son was throwing up for like 3 days. A 2-year-old. It's not fun. All right, anyways, we're going to go with number 101. It is Bijan Robinson. And it doesn't really matter where he goes. I think the only place that he could honestly go that would potentially make him into a tier with a couple of quarterbacks and Jahmyr Gibbs is if he went to the Jets. I mean, or if he went to Denver, I think that would really stink. But I mean, he immediately goes above Javonte, and then Javonte becomes RB2 of that team. And honestly, Bijan is that good. We're number 19 overall. He goes to Tampa Bay in this situation. And Tampa Bay, not a horrible situation. Yes, they did not run a ton, but no Tom Brady. They're going to have to use a lot of Bijan. Think about the Jets situation with Bryce Hall. I mean, you look at Zach Wilson being an inefficient, not good quarterback, and the Jets used a ton of other quarterbacks that were not good. Joe Flacco, Mike White, like they were using quarterbacks that were just not very good at all. And then Tampa Bay, who are they going to have at quarterback? It almost doesn't even matter. Bijan Robinson is going to have a good career there running. And think Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson had some really poor quarterback play. Christian Ponder, and I think was Tavares into that mess too. I don't even remember. I mean, Skol, Minnesota Vikings. So, and Adrian Peterson had top 2, top 3 finishes in fantasy. And he didn't even catch the ball, and Bijan can actually catch the ball quite well. So Bijan 101. Number 2, I have seen this mock a ton. This number 2-3 spot here. Number 2 is going to be Bryce Young. Number 2 to Houston. A lot of time I see Houston draft a wide receiver as well. In this situation, we did not see that. But Bryce Young, I feel the most confident, slightly over the quarterback we're going to be talking at 3. I feel, again, slightly more confident at him being number 2, going to Houston. I think Houston is actually going to start picking it up with DeMeco Ryans being, I feel like, a really good coach at San Francisco, and now being a really good coach. I think he will be successful at Houston, and they have the pieces, they have the draft capital. I think they're going to start rebounding, and that division is takeable. I mean, Jacksonville is a good team, but then you have Indianapolis, who is a horrendous team, and then you have Tennessee, who seems to be falling from the sky. And so I think that Houston could easily be the second best team there in a 12-month period of stretch here. And so I don't know what their over-under in Vegas is for 2023, but I'd be curious. Number 3 is CJ Stroud. By the way, if you have any of these that you do not like or disagree with, just let me know. I mean, right now it's so hard to tell. I mean, there's going to be some people that are going to be moving up and down within tiers. Again, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud in the same tier. Number 4, Indianapolis. What would you rather have? CJ Stroud at 4 to Indianapolis, or Bryce Young 2 to Houston? Yes, you have CJ Stroud that has Jonathan Taylor. That could be a help or hurt depending on what if you think that the running game, if you think Jonathan Taylor is going to help move the sticks, but also score more touchdowns, but also more touchdowns for Jonathan Taylor, that could be a potential hurt, help. It's hard to tell. I mean, it really is. You could have an argument either way. He does have Michael Pittman. That helps. He has a really good already wide receiver 1. Michael Pittman's probably a wide receiver, a really good wide receiver 2. He's like a T. Higgins. He's a really good wide receiver 2, not a great wide receiver 1, I would say. Michael Pittman he's that high-end wide receiver 2 in fantasy-wise, and so they need another weapon there. They could draft a second-round wide receiver. I mean, I could see that if they have the second round. I haven't even looked. But CJ Stroud, number there 4. Again, draft capital. And this is Superflex, of course. I don't even know if I mentioned that in the beginning. Of course, you're not drafting these quarterbacks if it's not Superflex. Number 4, Jahmyr Gibbs. And this is just a bad position for Jahmyr Gibbs team-wise. I mean, he went 37th overall, which is exactly where you want this type of running back to go. But he goes to the Rams, and I just don't care for the Rams offense, honestly. You have Cam Akers there that has had an increased showing towards the end of that, gosh, what is it? His third year now? Yeah, end of his third year. Gosh, man, these guys are just flying. It's like, now that I've been doing Dynasty for so long, it's like, wait, 3 years? 4 years? So Cam Akers, 3 years. And so Cam Akers is going to be there, and Jahmyr Gibbs is going to easily be potentially the alpha in an offense that, again, that has Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, that is on the edge of retirement or who knows what. There's just a lot of moving pieces there. Jahmyr Gibbs definitely is that guy into that tier, though. And so if you wanted him over some of these quarterbacks, that's perfectly fine. But in Superflex, I mean, in one QB, he's number 2 overall easily in this situation. But with those quarterbacks, I'm just going to take those quarterbacks in the top 5 draft picks versus Jahmyr Gibbs, if this is where he lands. Number 5, Will Levis. He has moved up in a lot of people's rankings. I've even seen some scouts say that he is a top 5 pick, potentially a top 7 pick, and he was number 7 here to the Raiders. I easily could see this situation happening. I think I've seen different mocks, but I think 4 quarterbacks will go in the top 15. I think 4 will likely go in the top 10. I'm going to say 4 are going to go in the top 10. I'm going to say that a team like Washington or like Carolina is going to draft a quarterback or move up into that position of drafting quarterback, like Washington's sake. So I could easily see that happening where a team moves into that top 10 and gets the 4th quarterback, which we'll talk about later here. But Will Levis, again, you have a top 7-8 quarterback, you have to almost take him in Superflex just because if they become even Derek Carr, you're looking at a high-end QB 2. If you're looking at a Kirk Cousins or anybody you're checking, a mid quarterback 2 is so valuable in Superflex, and they just don't come around often. Even if you have, I've seen a lot of people move, the Devontae Smiths of even last year, or even Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you're moving good, very, very good wide receivers, but quarterbacks just don't move as much. I feel like, at least in some of the leagues that I'm in, it's like teams know how quickly quarterbacks can change or make or break your team, and if you don't have 3 of them or potentially even 4 of them, you could be in rough situations very quickly. I mean, I was a team that had 4 starting quarterbacks. I had Dak, Deshaun Watson, which was a starting quarterback, not starting quarterback, Tua and Goff. And Tua and Watson have been on and off. So if I didn't have 3-4 quarterbacks, I wouldn't have won the championship this year. I won it with having Goff being my QB too. That just shows Goff is not an amazing quarterback by any means, but he can score enough fantasy points, and that's why Will Levis is here at 5. Number 6, Jaxon Smith-Njigba, 23 to Baltimore. All these wide receivers didn't have an amazing landing spot. They didn't get the Buffalo. They didn't get the Kansas City spot. They didn't get a high-powered, amazing offense location. So Baltimore, I think Jaxon Smith here is my wide receiver 1. I have him over some of the other wide receivers here. So I just have to take talent and just hope the situation pans out. We'll see if Lamar's the quarterback there. If he's not the quarterback, whatever it might be. Number 7 is going to be Jordan Addison, 15 to Green Bay. Now, this was intriguing. I thought about taking Jordan Addison above JSN, and I really wanted to. I just couldn't do it. I think Christian Watson is enough of if we knew Aaron Rodgers was back, but Christian Watson is enough of a deep threat to take some stuff away, and you still have Romeo Doubs, who's a sufficient wide receiver, an adequate wide receiver, and then we have Jordan Love, who we have no idea what his outcome or his future is or what he's going to be at the NFL level, and so I have to put Jordan Addison here at number 7. But number 8, Quentin Johnston, and number 9 to Carolina. Again, quarterback situation, unknown. Number 9 has high draft capital, but he's a little bit bigger body wide receiver. You're going to have to need an accurate quarterback to place to have success at the NFL level. And I said that with Drake London last year. I thought Drake London was going to have a rough rookie year, and he had a better rookie year than even I thought at times, but then there was times where you could tell he needed a quarterback with that accuracy, and at Carolina they just don't have that, so that's why he's number 8, and he's gonna have a little bit of a rough year if that's where he goes. Number 9, Anthony Richardson's number 16 to Washington. I just think Washington moves up and picks at Anthony Richardson in this type of mock. Anthony Richardson, high upside, very inconsistent. Better than like a Malik Willis for consistency wise. I mean, Malik Willis was much more inconsistent and raw of a prospect, but Anthony Richardson has high upside. We could be talking about Anthony Richardson being the best quarterback in this class. We could also talk about him being a quarterback that just doesn't make it at the NFL level because he doesn't go through progressions. He doesn't have the I'm trying to think of what he doesn't have the. I'm trying to say the modified tool. He doesn't have the ability. He has the attributes, but the actual just the side of football where people sometimes almost forget to see is like the I'm trying to even think of the word I want to say with Anthony Richardson, but inconsistency. I think part of that is maturity in the mental football realm. Like, you have to be playing chess at a higher level than everybody else, and I think that's where he lacks. Number 10 is going to be Zach Charbonnet, 67 on Arizona. I love Arizona in this situation. Love. I think that, yes, you're going to have Kyler Murray probably not be there for the first half of the year, but I think that Zach Charbonnet being a top 3-round pick, love this spot. He's basically just James Conner, but younger, and I think potentially better. Potentially works too, but I think potentially better. I mean, Zach Charbonnet is an amazing running back, and I think that it's why he keeps moving up, and I've seen him mocked all over the place. Round 2, round 3, round 5. Like, it's been everywhere, and that's what you're going to have with some of these running backs. You just got to take your shots. Number 11, Michael Mayer. Number 18 out of Detroit. Think TJ Hawkinson light. I told everybody that the last month with Michael Mayer, and he goes to Detroit, which makes no sense. I mean, you trade away your best tight end, and then you use your tight end, but it's not TJ Hawkinson, and now you pick Michael Mayer, which is like TJ Hawkinson, but not as good. I don't know. What are you doing, Detroit? Detroit, worry about your defense. Honestly, don't add more weapons to the offense. You have Swift. Maybe you'll re-sign Jamal, or you pick a running back in the second, third round, whatever it might be. You have adequate wide receivers in Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams. Like, just deal with that. Focus on the defense. If you can stop teams, you can actually win games, probably win the division if you actually have a good defense. And Devon Achane, 78 to Miami here. Please let Achane go to Miami. He is speed upon speed upon speed. You have Waddle and Hill, the 2 fastest wide receiver duos in the NFL. And then you add potentially the fastest running back, at least prospect that we've seen in a long time, a world track athlete. We're talking Chris Johnson speed, and you're going to add that to Miami. Whew. Oh, please let that happen. Please let that happen. I just want to see where Devon Achane goes. Miami would be just lovely, or just let him go to Kansas City. I mean, let the speed go. I mean, don't put him in a dumb situation. Don't even put him in Minnesota. Don't put him there. Put him in a team that is going to let that speed go and let him go. So again, I hope you like this mock draft. Let me know what you have different of these 12 at least. I can give you 13, 14, and 15 yet. So peace out. We'll see you guys soon. And wish me luck on this on the flu.